Boys, UFC Fight Night 251. Jared Cannonier, Gregory, Rodrigues. Now, I promise you we're going to do a lot better on this card than we did last week at UFC 312. I promise you we're going to do better. A lot of just shitting the bed in that card. But this card, it's decent. It's a good, Apex level fight card. Nothing special, but let's start off with the prelims. Women's bantamweight division. Julia Avila taking on Jacqueline Cavalcanti. Now, Julia, she's a heavy-handed fighter who she loves to make her fights into like brawls. She doesn't like being textbook or any of that stuff. She loves making shit into a brawl. She's aggressive both on the feet and on the ground. She has a BJJ black belt and will look for a submission after landing some nasty ground and pound on you. But Cavalcanti, on the other hand, Cavalcanti is a long, rangy striker. She's the new level in this women's bantamweight division. Avila, she's pretty old in this division. She's just a step behind. Also really good at using her footwork, her feints. She uses all that stuff to manage her range. She does a good job working on her opponent's legs early, which is really, really good. And she is also really good at moving forward, pressing her opponents to the ground, and then mixing in some cage control, some trips, some ground and pound, stuff like that. Cavalcanti, in my opinion, is just levels better than Julia. 30-27 decision win, better all around. Julia is just a step behind, and I'm not gonna lie, Cavalcanti is low-key like a prospect. Low-key, like we still need to see her develop, but she has some, I consider her a little bit of a prospect in this division. Let's go down to the heavyweight division. One of the worst fights on this card. Dontel Mays taking on Valter Walker. Two absolute garbage heavyweights. Again, one of the worst fights on this card. Dontel Mays, he's a good boxer with heavy hands, decent footwork. He sets up his combinations well, but the biggest hole in this dude's game is his takedown defense. Time after time after time, we've seen this dude taken down. Valter Walker, this dude's like a 6'6" monster, but unlike his more successful brother, Johnny Walker, Valter Walker is one of these like gritty wrestler guys more than a striker. He low-key looks disabled when he's striking, but I don't know. Honestly, both these guys have yet to look good inside the UFC. I'm not gonna lie. But like I said, Dontel Mays' biggest hole is his takedown defense. Valter Walker is a good grappler, a good wrestler. Give me first round submission or ground and pound win for Valter Walker. Again, both these guys suck. This is going to be a boring fight. This is going to be a pretty uneventful fight, but let's keep moving down. Bantamweight division. Vince Morales taking on Elijah Smith. Vince Morales is a okay striker with okay boxing skills, but he really has some good forward pressure, good volume, good power. His hands are pretty, he has good power for this division. I'm not gonna lie in his hands. He tends to slow down though if he doesn't get a finish early, which like the gas tank is very concerning. Elijah Smith, on the other hand, is a good grappler with okay striking. He has fast hands, good power, fast takedowns. He has good control and cardio. I think the way this fight is gonna play out is Elijah Smith is gonna have a gritty, non-stop, full forward, pressure heavy wrestling game plan, and again, that's going to be very taxing for Vince Morales to defend all these takedowns. Give me 29-28. Vince Morales does good in the first round, slows down second and third. Elijah Smith just keeps going from there. 29-28 decision win, Elijah Smith. Let's go down welterweight division. We have both of the Bonfim bros on here. Gabriel Bonfim taking on Khaos Williams. This is going to be a good fight, I'm not going to lie. Gabriel Bonfim he's a good striker with some high-level boxing background, some good BJJ. He's pretty well-rounded, even though he has gone to the decision before. His cardio, in my opinion, is still very questionable. He likes to start off striking, but he will mix in some wrestling if he's not having the most success. I think he has some high-level IQ on the ground. A lot of these fighters will go for submission over position, but Bonfim, he likes to go position over submission. He does have some good IQ in that sense. Let's go to Khaos Williams. Khaos Williams, he's a fan-friendly fighter. What can you say? He's one of these dudes who will constantly be walking people down, throwing tons of power, mixing in head kicks, body kicks, low kicks. He is just a very fun fighter to watch. He has some solid takedown defense. He's very durable. This dude can also knock you out any time of the fight. I don't care if it's the first round, the last minute of the fight, the first minute of the fight. He can knock you out whenever. So it's a very tricky fight. It's going to be very competitive in my opinion, but I think Gabriel is more well-rounded of a fighter. However, like, that cardio is so concerning, especially because I do think that the only way not the only way, but the game plan for Bonfim is going to be a very wrestle heavy approach. And I don't know if he has the cardio for all of that. I'm going to say 29-28. Gabriel Bonfim gets the decision, but don't be surprised if he starts to gas out in the third and gets knocked out. So those are my two options, 29-28 decision win, Gabriel Bonfim, or Khaos William catches him in the third round when he's getting a little tired in there. Let's go down to that 5-weight division. Rafael Estevam taking on Jesus Aguilar. Rafael, he's a high pressure grappler who does throw some heavy strikes to close in the distance to set up a takedown. He loves to do that. The technique to get the takedown is a little sloppy, I'm not gonna lie, but it is a non-stop approach. He does have some good cardio, where Aguilar, he is a good grappler with some dangerous, like, sneaky guillotines. He can also, strike. He's not just a submission grappler. He can also strike with some solid combinations. He has okay power, nothing special, but this dude can go a little bit Cody Garbrandt crazy at times. But I think personally, Rafael is just better everywhere. Although I could 100% see him getting catched in a guillotine. But I'm going to go 30-27. Again, I just think Rafael is better everywhere. I think first round is going to be semi-competitive. Second and third, I think Rafael will find the timing, will find just everything. He'll sort of figure out Aguilar more and more and more. Don't be surprised if while he's going for a takedown, he gets gillied. I'm just saying that. 30-27 or he gets gillied. I'm going Rafael, though. Let's go down lightweight division. Jared Gordon taking on Caio Fernandes. I don't know if this fight's still on. I think it got canceled, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm still going to break it down. Jared Gordon is a high volume striker who is always trying to move forward. He will mix in some takedowns. He's pretty much every fight he's trying to mix in a takedown. He's fairly well rounded. He doesn't have the most power in the world, though. I'm not going to lie. He can struggle on the back foot as well, I've noticed. But Caio Fernandes, he's a powerful striker who is always bouncing on his toes. He's very, very light on his feet. He's staying outside the pocket, then he's lunging in with some speed and some power, trying to catch you. He also has some good BJJ and decent takedown defense. I'm not going to lie. But with that being said, if this fight is still on, it is one of the closest fights on this whole fight card. I could go either way. I'm leaning towards Jared Gordon. Very, very close fight. 29-28, split decision. Jared Gordon going to mix in some wrestling, I think, some takedowns. I think that's what's going to win him the fight, but it's going to be one of these fights where it's like, I don't know if Gordon really won that. If we look at the damage, maybe Fernandes should have won that, but all the takedowns, stuff like that, I think it's going to be a very close competitive fight, but I don't even know if this fight's still on, to be honest. I think it got canceled. I'm not 100% sure. Let's go down women's strawweight division. Angela Hill taking on Ketlen Souza. Angela Hill she's a vet at this point. Let's be realistic. She's always consistent. She's good everywhere with some high-level fight IQ, good speed, volume, strikes. But like a lot of these women's MMA fighters, she doesn't have a lot of power. And she does have some good footwork and cardio. And she stays busy on the feet with good striking defense and can mix in some takedowns here and there. Her takedown defense itself, though, it's okay. It's not the best, but she does really, really struggle against pressure fighters. Ketlen Souza is a pressure fighter. She has some heavy ass hands. She's always looking to mix in some takedowns, but she has some heavy hands. She has some winging shots. She's a good grappler, and if she decides to go to the ground, she uses more of her strength and technique. She's going to be way stronger than Angela Hill. And the biggest I would normally pick Angela Hill, but the biggest factor of this is Angela Hill is 40 years old, plus her biggest weakness is one of Ketlen Souza's biggest attributes, her pressure. I'm going 29-28. Maybe the third round, Ketlen Souza starts to slow down and Angela Hill picks up that round, but 29-28 decision win. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a ground and pound TKO finish after Ketlen Souza gets Angela Hill to the ground and does some ground and pound work. I could see that happening, but I'm going 29-28. A very decision heavy card so far. Let's go into this main card now. Featherweight division. Connor Matthews taking on Jose Delgado. Connor Matthews he's a volume striker who is always moving forward, throws everything he can, to be honest. But because of his style and just constantly moving forward and throwing everything, this dude does get a lot of damage on him. He does receive a lot of damage. He's somewhat durable. He sets a good pace. He's fairly well-rounded enough to hang into the fight, and he can KO you or get a sneaky submission in a scramble, where Delgado is a rangy striker who uses his kicks to set up pretty much everything. He uses it to stay on the outside, and if it does get inside the pocket, he has some sneaky power as well. He also has some good takedowns and good ground and pound work, I think. Delgado, he's fairly well-rounded. He can grapple, although his takedowns, it's not like his primary weapon. He does prefer to strike, and he will mix it up if he needs to. I just think Connors is better everywhere, to be honest, and I think Connors will eventually find that chin of Delgado. I think he'll find the range. I think he'll find the opening. I'm seeing second round KO Connor Matthews. Let's keep moving down middleweight division. Rodolfo Vieira taking on Andre Petroski. Vieira he's a really good BJJ black belt. He has some good skills. He has some crazy explosive movement when he's trying to get a takedown. His wrestling, though, isn't the best, Also, his striking isn't the best either. It's okay. His game plan is 100% get this shit to the ground, where Petroski, he's a good wrestler. He has some good takedowns. His striking's okay. He does load up a lot of his shots to set up that wrestling. He also has some good BJJ skills, and, he mostly uses that for control than anything else. I'm honestly seeing a very boring fight. I'm seeing a very boring fight. Round 3, I just think Rodolfo is going to catch him in some sort of weird submission, to be honest. I think both these guys will be pretty tired, and I'm just seeing Rodolfo get some sort of, maybe like a rear naked choke after getting the back while Petroski's trying to stand back up, something like that. Round 3, submission win after a very, very boring 2 rounds. Let's go down to that lightweight division. The other Bonfim brother, Ismael Bonfim, taking on Edmen. Ismael Bonfim, he's one of these wild striker with some real power for this division. He can be dynamic at times, mixing in some flying knees and some takedowns. He has a high-level boxing background, and he has some good BJJ. Nazim, on the other hand, he's a solid kickboxer with some good speed, power. He's not as reckless, and he does take his time to find openings while moving forward. He pretty much waits for the perfect moment to land the perfect counter, and sometimes shows that he has some pretty bad fight IQ and will just randomly throw spinning shit. I think Ismael Bonfim's getting this one done. First round, I think he loses it, but then adjusts second and third and picks it up from there. I think it'll be a competitive fight. I think it'll be a fun fight, but I just think Ismael is better everywhere. I think he'll drop the first round, second, third, he'll pick it back up. Middleweight division, is this a co-main? No, this is a featured fight. Edmen Shahbazyan taking on Budka. Edmen is he a well-rounded fighter? I don't think he's that well. He's somewhat well-rounded. He's very good at striking. His striking skills is probably the best thing about him. But he has shown time after time after time again that his biggest weakness is his takedown defense. And I say every time that this dude's been training his takedown defense, he's gonna come back better. That's never the case. Budka, he's an okay fighter, to be honest. He's nothing that special. He doesn't have much skills in the striking. He's willing to charge forward and get into a brawl. His cardio is decent, and because of that, willing to make things into a brawl. Second round KO, Edmen Shahbazyan. If Edmen doesn't get this one done, cut him from the UFC, give him to that Unk League. He should be able to knock out Budka. Let's go down featherweight division. Kattar taking on Youssef Zalal, the co-main event. Kattar is a clean and accurate boxer he's really good at his timing. His timing is like his best part of his boxing skills. He doesn't have the most power in the world, but the fact that his timing is so good, that's how he's able to get a lot of these knockdowns. He's also good at cutting angles, but the biggest hole in this dude's game, his takedown defense is not that great. Youssef Zalal, a very high level IQ fighter who can throw a lot of volume. He has good striking defense. He's also a very aggressive wrestler with some sneaky submissions. I've been saying this for a long time. Kattar will be out of the top 15 by the end of the year. It might just be this fight itself that gets him out of the top 15. Kattar is getting old. He's getting worse and worse after each fight. He's not the same fighter. He has regressed in skill, and I think it's just his age and the miles he has fighting. But let's go into this middleweight division. The main event, Cannonier, Gregory, Rodrigues. This is very similar to the co-main, I'm not gonna lie. Cannonier is a powerful and honestly very dangerous fighter who can fight either in southpaw or orthodox. He can switch both sides. He can throw kicks from both sides. He has some good grappling defense. Gregory Rodrigues is a very well-rounded fighter, good striking, good power, BJJ black belt. The thing that sums up this whole fight is, Jared Cannonier is 40 years old. We have seen that he hasn't been looking the best. He is on the decline. Gregory Rodrigues, it's not like Gregory's the youngest guy either. I just don't think, after being knocked out, after being rocked twice in both of his fights, I don't know if that chin's still there. Once you get older, not only does the chin start to go, the cardio starts to go, the conditioning starts to go. Honestly, and even this fight should end in a finish. It's one of these classic fights that should end in the finish. But because it should end in a finish, it's probably not going to. I think Gregory Rodrigues beats Jared Cannonier, either knocks him out or wins a decision. Those are my predictions. Let me know in the comments below, out of all these fights, which ones are you most anticipated for? Let me know. Also, do you disagree with any of my takes? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching to the end of the video. There's really not that much else left to say, except for I will see you guys in my next video.